Everyone, welcome to episode 7 of the Great Pendragon campaign. Let's go ahead and rip down the list here. I'm Bob. I run the game. Probably aren't jumping in on episode 17, but if you are, that's who I am. Thomas.
Hello, I'm Thomas. I play Sir Goratrix. I recommend not starting with episode 17. But hi.
Mark.
Oh, hello! I am Mark, and I was briefly muted there. Hope you guys are gonna enjoy what is today.
Love it. Liam.
Hi everybody, I'm Liam. I'll be playing a corpse this session. I'm really excited. I've been working on my impression, my accent. Yeah, here it is. Hang on, you want to see it? Here it is.
That's 8 hours of
That's
practice
great.
every night, folks.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Thank you.
All right, and Zach.
And I am Zach. I am playing a wonderful NPC named Jaren of Newton Manor, and ready to be perhaps angry at corpses.
Yeah.
I've been practicing. I went to the graveyard and just stared at things.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and start with the first scene.
Before we begin, I would like to quickly say a thing, because we missed something on stream last time. Which is Goratrix took a major wound himself. And so when we rolled for attribute stuff and, the various rigmarole that happens when you took a major wound, because he took 3 axes to the head, he lost a point of size, which means he's slightly smaller, slightly less tough. Still good. Sorry about that.
All right, so we're going to start tonight with a first and troubling scene. We see Sarum, back in Sarum Castle in Salisbury, the church bell ringing, and sign of, what do you call that? I'm trying to think of a ceremony, I guess. Let's go with that. It's not what I'm looking for, but we'll use it.
Very ceremonial.
Yeah, you see what looks like clearly a funeral as a group of knights, company on foot, carrying 3 caskets. All right, and then on the screen, just as the ceremony is about to take place, the scene cuts to black, and over the top it says 2 months prior. Okay. So this scene starts with Goratrix, Edward, and Jaren. The 3 of you have just left Dallin's tent, or the tent where Dallin's been recently been operated on. I'm not sure if Edward was there. Edward might have been outside the tent, but regardless, the 3 of you are together.
Edward was helping, I believe.
He was.
It's now nearing. You've been at it for a while. It's definitely past dusk at this point. The squires minus Jaren have set up camp for nights. And yeah, we'll pick up with the 3 of you having an opportunity to talk.
Jaren,
I have lost a lot of blood. Sorry, you go.
Jaren is pacing. It seems like he has the blood of many people on him, and he hasn't really had time or the care to wash off. His mind is somewhere else. This is stony faced, a bit of furrowed brows. The last patient he was with Sir Dallin. He's just sort of pacing in front of you guys, looking at the ground.
Edward himself sits quietly, staring at the dirt. His hands still covered in blood from the procedure, and also covered in the blood of his enemies. He just seems to constantly be looking at a single spot, as if trying to bore a hole through it. He doesn't say anything other than that in this moment.
Bartrix's eyes are slightly unfocused as he looks around, but drawn to the motion of Squire Jaren. He goes, You fought well. I remember seeing it.
Jaren keeps pacing a bit. It takes him a moment to look up, but then over. And then perhaps up a little bit. I think, I don't know the size of Gortrix, but he's a big guy.
Yeah, size 18. He'd be of a size with your, what's the phrase? Saxon master.
Okay, yeah. He looks up, his eyes squint a little bit. Yes, I suppose I did. As much as I could, Wait, what? And Jaren shakes his head. He looks at the ground and he just points towards the tent that we were just in. What exactly is that? That we were just in there. He is a little lost for words. that night, I remember them. They fighting off many Saxons, but wildly swinging the sword almost hit me on my horse as I was going to my father, who's now dying. I was patching them up while my father had his last few moments of consciousness. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to speak to him again before. And Jaren just sort of looks towards the ground again, shaking his head.
Let me say first that you have my deepest sympathies. My father, he himself died in combat. I was not there. It's bad. As for what you have seen, it's weird, right? Not just me. Right. Sir Dalen is a wonderful knight and a very honorable person, and also, as you may have seen, a woman. It's this thing.
Is it a thing? Jaren looks a bit incredulous. It's not a thing, though. This isn't a thing that happens.
No,
It's
I've
not.
only seen it in one other case. But
what? There's more. There's more of these.
Yes. Sir Dalen, I will allow him. I will allow her to explain it in the fullness of time, for it is not my place. But there was another one, apprenticed to the Merlin, and she's very nice, by the way. But sorry, she too is a knight.
Jaren blinks, not very, a little suspiciously. He gives a looks toward Sir Edward. Did you know about this? Who traveled with this Sir Dalen? Who are their companions?
Edward would just look up slowly, staring down Jareth. Jaren? Sorry.
Jaren.
Jaren. It's been 2 weeks. staring down Jaren as he just says, I was aware, yes. What do you expect to gain from this line of questioning?
Gain? Jaren looks a bit insulted. Despite being a squire, he seems to hold himself quite self-important. Gets that from his family, you know. But he looks between the two with a sour look on his face. Gain? My father is dying in there. I can't tell what kind of effect one single night would have had on the battlefield, but if she was not she, perhaps she could have fought off those warriors. Perhaps she could have seen the one sneaking up and stopped the one who stabbed my father. It's hard to tell.
So that's it. You're looking for an excuse.
Jaren doesn't say anything. He just shoots daggers. I am looking for answers. And clearly, this must be some kind of secret. I've never heard of this happening. I haven't been away from Salisbury for this long.
I will say this. Anyone in Dalen's place might have met with a similar fate. She was fighting many, just as we all were in many cases. Just unlucky. And
So Dalen,
it is a bit of a secret, yes.
So Dalen is still a knight. Whether
very much so.
It is he or she, it does not discount their skill. Perhaps they were distracted this night. I cannot say. But I can say this. If you are looking for an excuse as to why this happened, do not stare at your own countrymen with spite and vitriol. Look to the enemies that have done this to us. The Saxons. And whoever it is that has plotted with them.
You don't think it a coincidence that they were here, waiting for all of us?
No. Because they were clearly not the only ones here to attack us.
Jaren's silent for a moment, still quite angry, but he opens his mouth to speak a retort to Edward, but he just sort of closes it slowly before saying, the ambush was planned. Clearly they knew we were coming, and they had a great spot for the ambush itself. I don't think normal raiders, normal Saxons, I haven't fought many of them, but my sire has told me quite a bit about them. I do intend to look into why this happened, who's behind this truly, but I cannot. And he kind of looks towards the tent, weighing something.
The Saxons,
Oh, sorry, you go.
No, go.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
The Saxons are malicious cowards, but truly not foolish enough to think they could simply attack us for no reason. This was planned. Their kind is certainly not smart enough to think of something like this, as well as to discover our path in such a way.
You have my condolences once more for the plight of your father, but it is not Sir Dalen you should be blaming, but rather, again, the Saxons and those behind them. Many people fell. I nearly joined them. And there will be answers.
The blame is on many, I think, not just one. And Jaren, he picks up his hand and looks at it. There's blood, some fresh, relatively, and some crusted under his fingertips. But he turns it over, looking at it. I could have fought harder. I could have could have sliced through each one of them to get to my father's back, but I didn't. Still not a knight, and this is keeping me back. Can't be wasting my time away setting up camps, and he gestures over towards perhaps where the other squires are, or running errands about giving messages about this ridiculous dishonoring of daughters, or it's all a waste of time.
Dishonoring of, I suppose it doesn't matter. All of us, to a man, before we became knights, had to go through being a squire. It helps us learn. And if it's a question of ability, you have skill with a sword, a great deal of it. This isn't a matter of anything holding you back. And if it's a question of you wondering what you could do better, that won't go away when you become a knight. There'll always be fights where you can see what you've done wrong. Living through it, that's the test. It's the best part.
It is a knight's honor to live, fight, and die for their lord. It is what we do. It is our role. You need to understand that. We do whatever it takes to ensure our lord succeeds, as is the oath we swear when we become knights.
Charon's teeth grind a little bit before curling up into a smile that doesn't really meet his eyes. Of course. The oaths to lords and king, they are very important. I will do my duty, but hopefully not as a squire for much longer. I have learned many things, and you do sound like my sire, Blackwin, the oaths and whatnot. But I hope to find some real experience, not handicapped by a squire's restrictions.
There will always be situations like these, moments for you to test your valor. But it is rarely the squires that are sung about, even if they do most of the work. You are how old? You look 16.
Bob, I'm 21, right?
Yeah.
21 and a squire?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ!
He's nearly a
I
knight.
misjudged that.
Yeah, so Jaren, he actually, to give his age, he looks pissed. Like, he looks away.
He looks angry.
Yeah, he looks angry.
Oh boy.
He turns back and says, I have 21 years on me, and I've 21.
Oh, well, yeah, you're going to be knighted in no time. Like, you're just waiting till the next time you see, like, King Uther. That's no issue.
I know, it's right around the corner, but something like this happens. My father, he is the patriarch of our family. He has kept us together. He is important. And now he lays in there bleeding from the inside, and my uncle says he may not wake. Probably will not wake. I have failed him in this, and can't help but remember all the time I've wasted lighting fires or pitching tents, sharpening swords. If I've just spent that time training, then this may not have happened.
I don't think there's anything I can say to you to understand that things like this, tragedies occur no matter one's preparedness. You just have to fight through it, same as everything else. You will learn that, I think. I'm like, what, 3 years older than you? Yeah, 3. I assume it just comes with knighthood.
I hope so.
When it comes to your father and your house, I pray that they will get through these coming nights safe, as well as can be. If not, we shall see.
Jaren nods a bit silently. He has a different look comes over him as he thinks of something, a hesitant, worried look. I'm not sure what my brother will do. Jareth will need to... Well, it's another matter. I'm sure the other knights that have passed already or are dying, they have their own issues. They have... Just need to get to the bottom of this. Find out who is behind it. I'm not sure about what to do about her. And he looks towards the tent again. So much has happened. So much to consider. I don't usually... Jareth is making these kinds of decisions. I just swing my sword.
That is the lot of a knight. Sorry, you were going to say something?
No, you can go for it. Don't mind afterwards.
Out of purely idle curiosity, what house are you from?
I am... And Jared, every time he speaks his name, his chest puffs out a little bit. He gets a straighter posture. I am Jaren of Newton Manor.
Yes.
He looks around like that's supposed to like awe, in the house.
Edward is a stone face.
You see the reaction the Gortrix has. His eye like twitches.
And Jaren repeats himself like he wasn't heard. Newton Manor.
We heard you the first time.
We are familiar with your house. My cousin is squired there. I am sure. I know there are many honorable people there. Yes.
and your houses, and I don't believe I've even gotten a name from you. And he looks towards Sir Edward.
Edward just looks up. I am Sir Edward of Idmiston.
I am Sir Gortrix of Winterbourne Stoke.
Jaren pauses, his whole body sort of freezes for a second, and then slowly a smile that does reach his eyes sort of creeps onto his face as he starts to giggle a bit. I think, oh wow, this is how unfortunate or fortunate, I'm not sure what this is. You said Sir Edward of Edmiston and Sir Gortrix. Oh, wow. He kind of catches himself a little bit, the smile disappearing a bit as he looks around, like perhaps his dad is behind the tent, giggling like this is some kind of prank and nobody's actually hurt. And
how did you guys fail so many courtesy rolls without touching the dice?
Yeah.
Just skill.
It's all skill, baby.
Yeah.
Skill.
Gorotrix will say, almost carefully as far as he can, have you heard of us from my cousin, or from, say, your brother Sir Jareth?
I have heard of your names quite annoyingly from a certain dispute, I believe. I have a letter that I need to deliver. Let me think. This is a lot. This is, and Jaren's kind of he kind of laughs to himself again as he wipes his forehead, which happens to get a bunch of blood smeared on it, and he doesn't seem to notice. Let's see, a letter from Sir Vibius, I believe, a serious dispute to be delivered to the king. So a lord of Humble Creek, right? He wishes to.
Yeah, we saved that place.
Yes, I believe you had some members of your family go and fight the dispute, for his daughters were found to be with two guests that he had.
Edward immediately turns his glare to Goratrix.
Goratrix doesn't get it for a moment, but then he does, and his eyes widen, and he goes, "What?" Like a dawning horror behind him.
And Jaren turns. There's this smile on his face that looks much like Jareth's kind of wicked smile, but there's not like malicious intent, more like amusement.
Yeah, more mischievous. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jaren says, "Oh, well, it is just accusations, of course. And though a duel to the death has been declared, so there is that."
Hey, that's fine. I can do that. I can do a duel to the death.
Brilliant.
That's okay. And you're saying that this is a summons? We're going there anyway. Why? It seems that this is news to at least me. And he looks towards Sir Edward, like, with a quizzical expression.
I have heard nothing of this matter, but would not be a surprise if my brother was keeping secrets from me.
Well, oh, shit. Godric says. Right, okay. Well, I will need to heal up. We have approximately 2 months worth of travel. During that time, I will get feeling in my legs back. I think I will be okay. All right. Thank you, Jaren.
So at this point, just to kind of interrupt, out of the tent emerges Sir Merrick, the uncle of Jaren, and there's quite a noticeable amount of blood on his person. He was the one tending to his brother, alongside Blackwin, actually, which is why Blackwin hasn't been present here. He walks up to Jaren in front of him, just puts a hand on his shoulder and says, "I'm sorry, my boy."
Jaren's immediately when his uncle came out, he tensed up, looking for an answer on the older man's face, and once he gets it, his own face goes stony. It's not much to it. It's not much reaction. He puts a hand on his uncle's hand that's on his shoulder, but he moves to go past his uncle, to go into the tent and to his father.
Do you want to cut away there, or is there something you wanted to showcase inside the tent?
No. We can cut away.
Okay. No rush. I just, if that's a good cutaway, we'll make it happen.
No, that's that's a good cutaway. Nobody wants to see Jaren cry.
We do. Yeah, we do. We're here for that.
Yeah, we're all here for that. All right, so I think I'm gonna go with, for the next scene, it's gonna be in the middle of the night. I'm gonna have it be between Dallin, Edward, and Gortrix. So Dallin is woken up for the first time, effectively, and the two of you have been alerted to Dallin's awakening.
I'll have if you guys want to enter in, and I'll start when you guys are in. Then I think that's a good way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let you do your thing first.
Me or
Me?
You.
No.
Is that you as in Mark?
No.
I did mean you as in Mark. Yes. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Force of habit.
I would clear that up.
Yes.
Edward himself would enter into the tent. He is still wearing his armor. Some of it's been cleaned a little bit, but there's still a noticeable amount of blood staining it and covering some of the metal bits as well. As he just kind of slowly comes in, almost hesitantly. I imagine with Gortrix at his side.
Dallin.
Gortrix. Oh, sorry.
So no, go for it. Go for it, Thomas. I want to hear your voice first. I want to hear you speak.
Well, you made it weird. But yes, Gortrix comes in. He's no longer wearing his armor. He is dressed in a lot of. He's dressed in his clothes, but above that, a lot of bandages. He has seen better days. Still got his sword by his belt, though. And he comes in walking with a tiny bit of a limp, a little bit of a hunch in his normally strong stature. Looking towards the bed of Dalen with a worried expression.
As you guys come in, unless somebody is tying Dallin down to the bed, Dallin is already struggling to try to be at their feet. They're probably just in a sitting up position right now, but you can tell that is the intent of her movements. Oh, good morning.
You need to rest.
But you are awake.
I am, and I'm not sure if I have time to rest right now. I imagine
you need to rest. Please.
Do you intend
You took a great many wounds. Sorry.
Do you intend to hold me down, either of you?
If need be.
Wouldn't be very gentlemanly of you.
I feel like Goratrix has already broken that, apparently.
That's irrelevant at the moment. Or it might not be.
Very relevant to me.
Yes, you need to heal.
Is my mother
Dalen
safe?
She is. Yes. She tended to your wounds. She did all she could, and she saved your life a great many times. Things were close.
I had dreams of her voice. I thought that might be the case, but I wasn't. The Count? Is he...
He is fine, too.
There were losses. Among the wounded, there were many. Among the dead, Sir... I'm blanking on the names.
Yeah, I can fill in for you there if you want. Morgan.
Thank you. Sir Morgan.
I'm having computer issue. Give me 1 sec.
That knight from France who we couldn't identify.
Sir Griffey.
Sir Griffey.
And Sir Gareth.
And Sir
Newton
Gareth,
Manor.
yes. I've discovered that not all those from Newton Manor are evil, which was a peculiar thing to learn.
I find that few people are necessarily what they appear to be, and certainly anyone can surprise you. Isn't that right, Sir Gortrix?
Yes, that is the case. In many ways.
Dallin, again, kind of like leaning on either a blade that's by the bed or some large stick or something, kind of struggles to her feet, and she goes, I'm going to ask you to do something that's going to make you very uncomfortable, but if you care for me, you should. Heed my words and do as I ask.
Gortrix tilts his head and quirks an eyebrow.
It's very possible that there will be a hearing about my situation very soon. And should that be the case, I'd like you both to keep your distance from me. I'd like you to even condemn me if it seems necessary. There's a good chance... No, let me finish. This is important. There's a good chance that people could use your proximity to me against you and your families. If it goes badly for me, if I am tried and found guilty, there is a good chance that people will rightfully say that you were aware of it. And if that's the case, I am unwilling to put your families or your honor at stake. I've very much made my peace with my situation, with who I am and who I have needed to be. I'm not afraid, and I don't need you to face what burdens I have to bear alongside me. You've done plenty for me already.
With respect, Dalen, Elizabeth, I refuse. I won't let you go at this alone. Trust me, I am but a simple bastard of my house. A knight for sure, but being a bastard will stick with me forever. It's not something you can wash away. And I'll be honest, my honor is damned when it comes to my loyalty. For that is my honor. Thus, my loyalty to you, my friend, will not be abandoned.
If you've come to terms with who you are, what you are, you should not be condemned for that, and you should not stand alone, and so you will not.
The way things should be does not necessarily mean it's the way things are. I feared you might both say that. And so I'm asking you, my friend, and as someone who cares for the well-being of both of you, who would give my life in combat to save either of you, to trust me in that if I ask you to cut the cord, you will. Not for you, but for me.
I would do a great deal for you. You know this, Elizabeth. I don't know if I can do this. Besides, I'm going to be tried too as well, so I think we're already past that.
You're going to what?
Long
Right.
story.
Yes. Humble Creek Manor was, in any case. So I'm going to be dueled to the death at some point. And
What?
I'm going to win, but things are going to... It's fine.
How long was I unconscious for?
No, this was apparently... This was part of the reason why we were brought on this, expedition, I think. It was clandestine, almost. At Humble Creek Manor, I made the acquaintance of one of the lords. Anyway,
Please test
the point
awareness,
is,
the three of you.
thank you.
Oh, that's Perrin. I don't want to roll Perrin. Perrin, what are you doing here, buddy?
Trying to stop Gartrix from making a mistake.
Failure on my part.
That's a success.
Success on Gartrix.
Dallin and Goratrix hear footsteps coming near the tent.
Absolutely nothing, in any case. I am glad you are conscious now.
Dallin does their best hearing the footsteps to, as soon as they're sure that Gortrix has heard it as well, going to stand up as straight as possible. And I imagine the pain is probably pretty immense.
Oh, yeah. You're going to double back over in pain immediately. Yep. In
On their
enters
feet, though.
Jaren.
Jaren, I assume at this point in time is cleaned up very very nicely. No more blood on him, probably. But he kind of is power walking through, like he had a very purposefully, and then he stops in his tracks, almost has to take another step as he looks towards Sir Dallin and is about to say something, but composes himself, stands a bit straighter, and says, "Good, you're awake. I need a few words, and good to see both of you as well."
No worries, friend. I won't bite. Does Dallin recognize this as one of the two cavalry chargers that came through?
You would notice that, but you can make a recognize roll in general.
Oh goodness, let's do that. Let's do that.
You know for sure you tried to hit them with a sword at some point, but why?
How embarrassing.
No, recognize here is just, it's Jaren
The
of Moot
house.
Manor. Yeah.
Yeah. That is a fail.
So yeah, it makes sense you wouldn't know Jaren. He's only a squire at this point. But yes, he's certainly one of the ones that came flying past you.
Would seem our triumphant rescuer returns. I'm afraid I have to offer you my apologies. I was a bit distracted by the injury that I had sustained, and I thought that you might have been coming to assassinate our count. I'm happy to see that wasn't the case.
Jaren opens his mouth a bit insulted to say something, but he catches his tongue. He's had a little bit to cool off, a little bit of time to cool off, and he just smiles. And I thank you for not chopping my head from my body. I very much needed it for the rest of the fight. But in Jaren's eyes turn to the other two and then back. I suppose I have some questions. I, along with a few others, tended to your wounds. You did take quite a few nasty hits and many attacks during the fight. You fought well enough for being surrounded by many Saxon warriors.
Skilled Saxon warriors as well. We are in agreement that there's no chance that that was a random raid, yes?
Not at all.
Definitely not. And that is one thing I've come to ask, is that many people have died, many injured. We need to seek who was behind this. I hope that we can, in time, once you have recovered, rely on your skills. I hope once I am finally knighted, I can go off on my own search for clues on my own, as long as my lord doesn't have any immediate orders, but one person can only do so much.
Of course. What house are you from?
And
I'm afraid I haven't done an introduction properly.
Godric winces.
and Jaren, he straightens a bit. I am Jaren of Newton Manor.
Dallin doesn't flinch like the other two. Instead, Dallin smiles. It's still very pained, but it's clear that it's not from the Newton Manor thing. And Dallin continues, I see. I don't suppose you've heard any information about your brother Rickard. He was my squire, and I lost track of him a few months ago. He's had me quite worried. That boy has a very fine head on his shoulders.
A shadow seems to go over Jaren's face for a moment as he shakes his head. I have heard rumors. I have expressed my wish to my sire, Sir Blackwind, to go off searching for him, but I have been denied, and then there's this whole situation with the noble daughters of some lord that I've now have to deliver news on, and then I have to get knighted, of course, but I do intend...
Far away.
Yes, but I do intend to search for Rickard. He is lost somewhere. He's around. I will find him eventually.
The boy is far more resourceful than I think most give him credit, and he's brave, if not a little young. He'll find his way. I'm sure of it. If I was able to survive the mess that I fell into, I can't imagine he hadn't.
He'll find his way. And Jaren smiles a bit, remembering perhaps a distant childhood memory. He's of Newton Manor, of course. We always find a way. But, yes. And I'm sorry, did you introduce the name yet? Did I miss that?
Nope.
Okay, because Jaren has also missed that. That's how I'm gonna play it. So Jaren, he kind of looks towards the ground and around the tent, and then back to Dallin. I apologize. Perhaps I missed your name and house.
Now that does seem to be a matter of some discourse, but I am from House Sternford. I am currently the only living knight. That much is all that I can tell you for certain at the moment, but you may call me Dallin if you like, or Elizabeth if you prefer.
Jaren nods slowly, blinking once or twice, like it's taking a while to register. Like his mind is not built to register this kind of thing easily.
I think Dallin's gonna notice that and kind of cock their head and goes, "What's the matter? I didn't misspeak, did I? I'm afraid my head is rather fuzzy. Is there something that I said that's confusing you?"
It is a little confusing. Godrix nods in sympathy.
Jaren, he wasn't actually expecting that kind of remark. His head tilts back a bit, and a small smirk appears on the side of his mouth. Perhaps it is quite confusing, a little confusing. I don't meet too many people that have two names, or Well, to be quite blunt, a woman who has been knighted.
Well, these certainly aren't things that you see every day, though. I suppose if a young boy can be knighted, I suppose I could be too, right?
Jaren he pauses, but he nods and says, "While I must have been away from Salisbury for far too long, I need to catch up on what is happening around here. Blackquin, Sir Blackquin, my sire, doesn't talk much politics, or that was always my brother's strength anyway. But if you have been deemed worthy of the title, then clearly you've proven yourself. I myself expect a display a bit more, and he struggles for the word.
Oh,
And he,
deeply
like,
excited to see where you go with this.
he struggles for the word. He kind of, his hand goes through the air a bit more knightly whenever we go after the culprits, the ones who set up this ambush. A bit more, not swinging around my face with your sword, Lee.
I will do my best to avoid it, though I imagine there are certain parties that would likely wish to take a sword from my hand, and Dallin looks directly at Edward and Goretrix. I would be happy to ride with you if you'd have me.
Jaren looks a little confused, looking towards the other knights and back. Wait, why would they be taking your sword? They can't turn you back into a squire, can they? The rules keep changing. I don't understand it.
I think the problem is
we did not
also-
knight her, so we can't unknight her, even if we wanted to, and we don't. We're not going to take away your sword.
What does that have to do? Never mind.
I'm afraid that neither of these two will be able to take my sword, but it is possible that it could happen. I would like to apologize again for nearly slaying you on accident. You seem to be... well, I certainly would have felt quite bad if that was the case.
Jaren, he seems to prickle up a little bit at that, at being instantly slayed while he was on his mighty horse steed going into battle. But he kind of smiles at that, seeing the joke, and he bows his head a bit and says, Thank you for not instantly smiting me off of my horse and into the water to be clobbered by some Saxon axes.
If anything, I kept you alert and aware of your surroundings. I can take some solace in that. And Dallin, for the first time, like, kind of stumbles back onto the bed. They've suddenly, you can see the color drain, and every illusion of strength is gone for a moment. The truth is, my new friend, I'm afraid the rules have not changed since you were last here. So there has been some flexing in certain areas. It's difficult to say whether or not the branch will bend further, or if it will snap.
Jaren, he kind of silently mouths flexing, and he looks towards the Goretrix and Edward, like perhaps he's missing another piece to this strange new world that he seems to have stepped into.
So the real question is Goretrix just instinctively flex? Here's that word.
We were all thinking it. We were all thinking it.
Yep.
Like as As Jaren looks around, confused, he's like, "Oh, like the bending of a thing," and then just
You're like this, and Edward's like, not at all like that.
I picked the wrong group to use a metaphor on. Oh my god.
the moment Jaren opens his mouth, I keep on calling him Sir Jaren. You're like, "Oh no, there's two."
Let's add up everyone's intrigue scores and compare them versus Dallin and who's.
So there are things bending, and they will snap. Perhaps I'm not too clear on the rules now, but if you said they haven't changed much, then what you are doing, Sir Dallin. He like paused. He was about to say Elizabeth, but he wasn't sure how it
Dallin like was, you could tell on their face they were very curious to see which one you'd end up using.
Yeah, it took him a moment to decide, but the Dallin felt right to his gut at this point in time, and he's like, just went with it. But I suppose then it is still normal for women not to be knights riding into battle, especially women of noble standing of houses.
Aye, that would normally hold. It's even less form for a lady to slay passions. Yet somehow that still managed to happen. Actually, come to think of it, that's was it passions a week? It was passions, yes?
Yeah, I'm just making sure Zach recalls a reference there. That was the
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, Vortigern's son.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, that might be rather embarrassing for him now.
Jaren's eyes kind of light up at that smile reappearing on his face. You were there, and you fought through the Irish and fought him himself, one of the betrayers. He doesn't know all the details. He just goes through it. He's more of imagining the fight, almost like as if he was there and watching it. That is quite a feat. I suppose he would be embarrassed. He kind of arcs an eyebrow, like he's not sure if he was supposed to respond to that comment, and now he feels a little awkward.
Dead, so
yeah, he's dead. He's not feeling much of anything at the moment.
In truth, it was very much a group effort. I only landed the final blow, but Sir Gortrix and Sir Edward here have been very good to me. Kind friends and trusted companions. We have fought together in the vanguard and in many battles since.
You've been our friend too, which is why we shall not abandon you. Also, the killing blow is the one that matters. So you got it.
Well, it seems as though you are very competent then. So I don't see why they need to take away the sword. Besides, you'll need it for when we go hunting after the mastermind behind the ambush.
Indeed.
I wonder, the timing would have had to been relatively precise. They would have had to know that we were coming that way, and that the main path that we were going to take was flooded by weather, right? It was weather, right? It wasn't intentionally sabotaged. If that's the case, then it likely would have had to be someone that was with the party.
Those cavalrymen, the one that came at us, where were they from?
I didn't see any markings, and I might have confused some cavalry with others.
The point
The
being,
one that I fought Sorry, you go.
No, you.
I wasn't going to say anything of substance. The one that I fought hit me very hard with a sword, which is an unusual weapon for them.
Yeah. Question, Bob. Were we able to investigate the people on horses that came after us? The cavalry people?
Yeah, everyone was without markings, and they were wearing, Saxon shields, and most of them had axes, save for the cavalrymen who had spears.
Out of curiosity, did the cavalrymen look like Saxons?
So
Edward
this is yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead and give me.
Hate Saxons to be able to distinguish a Saxon and not a Saxon.
I don't feel a boiling rage for this one.
Why don't you test Saxons, and if it's
okay, let's go.
Oh, I love it when your racism has a use.
It is.
Woo! I'm so racist, it's a metal detector.
Roll for racism.
Were any of them captured to be like questioned, or they pretty much all got deaded?
Everyone was slain to the man.
Okay.
Yeah. It'd normally be the case, but it was actually a pretty deadly fight, and the Count himself was in trouble, so it kind of was kill or be killed at that point.
Yeah, all or nothing.
So, as far as Edward is concerned, you know what I'm going to get you to do now? Please test what is your suspicious score?
Suspicious is 10.
10. Okay, I think this roll wins. Actually, roll it. Roll suspicious, because if you crit, then that'll win out. Basically, I'll explain what I'm doing here. Good way to. Okay, yeah, no.
It failed.
I think what this means probably is that Edward, even though he's somewhat suspicious of, because you've already established that, right, that this isn't Saxons. You're distinct. You almost want it to be Saxons. You want it to be true, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you work with that though? Because I know you've established some pieces already.
No, I think I can.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Because Saxons aren't usually known for being cavalry, right? That's a pretty.
It's become more common recently.
Okay.
But only in the last little while, and it's still not common.
Okay.
Like there's not many that are known for. You're correct, basically. It's not impossible, but it's not common.
All right. In which case, Edward just thinks about it for a bit and goes, no matter what, these Saxons certainly found out about our location somehow.
Apparently, it was not as, let us say, private as we thought it was. After all, they knew we were going to the capital to be tried. Did they have any coin on them, minted in a particular place? No, hold on. Is that a Gartrix idea? Yeah, he'll think of that.
Dallin was gonna say the same thing, so you got it, buddy. Go for it.
Gotcha.
Why don't you test intrigue? Anyone who's interested in looking into this, it'll play the role of investigation.
I'll do that.
My
intrigue of 8.
I think after looking around, Edward just. Yep, these are Saxons.
Goodness.
Yeah. 19 out of 8. So that's almost a fumble, but not quite.
Oh, you guys.
Jaren is very good at intrigue, so.
I have the same unmodified score. It's just my family are intrigue kings.
And
we get a +5.
Is Edward testing this? You're gonna have Edward test it?
Sure, I might as well. Unlikely I will succeed. Having trouble finding it. Why is it?
Dallin got that good success.
Yeah, no, failure.
Okay. So basically, with the facts presented, this is interesting for Dallin, who didn't actually get to partake in the investigation, but maybe it's a round table of, this is why it's likely Saxons, because this, and look at the round shields, and they had limited markers. Most of them weren't cavalry, and I think for Dallin, it's more like, well, isn't that very cookie cutter? Like, isn't that, we can't name
Exactly.
one of them. There's,
Too clean.
yeah,
It's
like
too clean.
it's too clean, and there's not a single one bearing any sort of mark of representation.
Yeah. Dallin just kind of shakes their head. So, no, it's too easy. For the timing of the assault, for the betrayal, the fact that they knew Roderick was going to be there, the fact that they had cavalry at all, and that there was not a single piece of identifying anything across all of the assailants. This was an assassination attempt, and it had backing from a countryman. I'd stake my life on it.
This is making my head hurt.
The question then becomes, who knew we were taking this trail?
Well, if I had to narrow down our pool of suspects, I'd say there's 3 possibilities. Someone from where we just left, someone that was with us, or someone who knows someone who's at the place that we're going.
I think that's sorry, is that a good cut, or do you want to continue with that? Do you guys want to debate this one out loud?
Good for me.
Oh no. Yeah, it's good for me as well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and cut to the next morning here. So we'll cut with that. The general idea is that camp is being broken in the morning, and parties getting ready to start traveling north again. Why don't you all give me an intrigue roll? Dallin, for the purpose of today, you'll have limited interactions or limited movement, but you'll be able to interact. You'll be at the right place at the right time, kind of thing.
Failure on my part.
Right here. So, okay, that's about right. Is Dallin rolling? Intrigue?
What am I? Oh, intrigue. Sorry, I didn't see that everybody did it again. I misunderstood. All right, here we go. Yeah, Dallin's rolling. That's a critical
Critical.
intrigue.
Woo! Very nice.
Oh, don't you guys love it when Dallin is conscious?
We do. We do.
We do.
When it doesn't happen, things get strange.
That's true.
Okay. Give me a sec on this one, because I want to make the critical more interesting.
Yeah, maybe just give me all the answers.
Yeah.
just solve the mystery for me.
Someone trips and falls in front of the hospital bed and goes, "Okay."
Oh no, I'm the spy. Oh, oops. What? Uh-oh.
I shouldn't have admitted that. I shouldn't have admitted that I'm being paid by the Lord of Hubbard. Oh no!
I really shouldn't.
Oh man, such a shame.
I shouldn't admit that I'm here to assassinate someone and finish the job.
I shouldn't have mentioned the account was secret.
All right. And I realized I'm not showing the rolls today. I apologize to anyone watching the stream that hasn't seen those. I think you're getting a good idea of who's succeeding and who isn't, so it should be fine.
Yes.
What makes sense here is this is Dallin's resting in the tent, and Surrey Ladd is in the same tent. He's been unconscious. He's awake this morning. Dallin, you're resting, you're asleep, but you hear someone else enter, and it's Sir Mig, which is basically the second best known knight in Salisbury.
I remember Imig.
Yeah. Mig and Alad have a bit of an exchange, and their lad says to Mig, "Do we know who's behind this? Have an idea yet?" And Sir Mig says, "The Count has his sense of things, yes. Can't be proven, but I'm afraid he won't drop it." And Alad says, "Well, go on." And Sir Mig says, he leans in slowly and says, "There is one other than vying for Lady Ellen's hand. He is the Seneschal Lev Cremagus, Sir Blaine's name." And a lad kind of grunts. Ugh. Oh, he said you can never trust one from the Vale, especially one from Chester. And yeah, I think that's it. Unless Dallin's going to let them know that she's overhearing, we
I
will
think
cut.
that's probably not wise, but I do have one question
Yep.
for you. Has he been acting weird around me?
Who?
Now that he's awake and I'm awake, you know?
No. Nope.
Oh, good. Very nice of him. Very kind.
All right, so we'll cut to the next scene here. Everyone's breaking camp. You're gathering, basically mustering before the Count at this point. He hasn't spoken yet. You haven't really seen much of the Count in close distance, so maybe we'll let the four of you come together in role play for a minute and bring in the Count. Like it's probably only a matter of minutes before the Count addresses the retinue.
How much freedom does Dallin have to move around?
Limited movement, but you are at the place where the gathering is. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, so they're not, you know,
You
they're not arresting me. I'm not arrested right now.
Nope. There doesn't seem to be any sign of that yet.
Great. Cool.
Does anyone recall who has witnessed this directly? Do you have the name?
Witness.
Witnessed
A number of the women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there was Edward. Godrix was unconscious, but he already knows. And Sir Jaron. I'm not sure if there were any other men or squires helping with the thing, but I know for a fact his mother was, and I think maybe Lady Violet, but I'm not certain.
Correct.
I'm pretty certain that you said that Roderick saw, or somebody close to Roderick for sure saw, but I don't remember. I don't remember for sure which one.
Okay.
I'm trying to
We can
think if
look
he
over
was
the tapes
awake at
later.
the time.
Yeah. We'll go back
I
for the
think-
next session.
Yeah.
Either or,
'Cause I
whoever
think
it
a
was.
lot of them were
I don't
I
think.
think a lot of them were just unconscious.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't think Roderick was. We'll go back and view the. I viewed this scene before and I didn't have any red flags, so I don't think anyone else directly saw. But I'll go back and make sure. Either or, whoever it is, clearly didn't pull the trigger on turning it into an action at this.
Oh,
Indeed.
dope, great, wonderful. In that case, some tunics, something comfortable, but also loose fitting enough that plausible deniability, just in case this ends up working out well for me.
I mean, it's completely good. You've got Gortrix, Edward, and Jareth's younger brother, so you're all good.
Yeah, that last one
Be
makes me feel
fine.
real comfortable.
Very much so.
Jared's been tight-lipped about it. He does seem a little awkward whenever he is perhaps around Sir Dallin, but
That's to be expected.
a few jokes here and there gets him loosened up.
Perfect. Yeah, I think all of you guys, or well, specifically Edward and Gortrix, would notice that since Dallin has woken up, they've been way more jovial. Like, there's been, like, the general air of, like, this is serious, but also, like, it definitely does feel like Dallin is not too worried and instead enjoying the little bit of freedom that they have right now.
Yeah. You would also probably get the sense that puts Gartrix at ease as well. In Gartrix's mind, it's like, who generally knows what's going on? Edward. How's Edward doing? He's angry and nervous. All right, how's that's normal.
Good. Very normal.
How's
Good, normal.
Yes. Yeah, good, normal. Everything's fine. If he's smiling, something's gone very good or very bad. Dalen, how's Dalen doing? Dalen's having a good time? Excellent.
To suppose if people are gathering or the like, Sir, or not Sir Jaren, walks by and stops to see three, and is looking around the camp and says, "Seems like everything has been taken care of. All of my squirely duties complete and on time, sirs." And he nods to all three of you. The nod is a little longer towards Dallin, but he looks towards some of the wounds that he dressed and says, "Do any of the bandages need replaced?"
Well, don't sound too eager. I'm fine. I'm still a little sore, but I think most of the bleeding has stemmed.
Jaren, he gets a little red in the face, but he smiles and says, "Can have you two injured for too long. We can't let, there's villains somewhere." And he kind of stumbles a bit as he looks around, and
Aye, lad.
he changes. He changes the topic. "So when are we leaving? The camp seems well enough."
We're mustering soon. Not much I know. I believe the Count might wish to speak to us before we head off. Oh, yeah, speaking of bandages, hold on. And then bandages back up. All right.
An attempt on his life, even if he survived, it shows a level of vulnerability. I imagine he needs to take the time to fortify and readdress. Make sure that his people know that he's not weak.
Project strength.
Indeed.
When we head off, we will be taking a number of wounded. We will likely not make the speed that we did, which could mean that a second attack would be easier to make. Likely, a number of the healthy knights and fighters will be applied to the flanks. Archery will be our biggest problem, I think.
I find it hard to believe that they'd attempt a second attack. The place that they attacked us was so extremely advantageous for them. I can't imagine they'd have a better opportunity.
That's true.
Yeah, probably foolish enough to believe that we have already been killed. Unlikely they would have got notification otherwise.
We killed everyone who could have sent a message.
Indeed.
Well, not everyone who could have sent a message.
Yes, there is someone within the party. But then we would have noticed if they had went off and informed, surely.
It's possible. I've been staring at canvas for the last few weeks, so... or however long it's been.
That is true.
We still don't know exactly who was the target. I mean, the Count is an obvious one, but there are many injured and many dead.
It seemed the Saxons' main goal of attack was, in fact, the Lord.
With the secondary of making off with the women.
It would have been
Indeed.
far easier to make a targeted strike at anyone else on the way to or from the specific trip, Roderick would have been the easiest. It would have been the best opportunity to hit Roderick specifically on the river. I imagine he was most likely the target, unless. And Dallin kind of like leans back a second and.
You think there would be another?
I think it's possible. There's a chance that the intention wasn't to kill Roderick at all, but rather to stall him. Maybe somebody's maneuvering in a place where they don't want Roderick to be at his destination.
But then surely there are better ways than, well, a raid, placing oneself in a more dangerous situation like that.
It's
It
possible.
would be easier to tie them down with feasts. Also, I hear.
Unless they didn't care what happened.
It's a lot of people who try to maneuver in court, I find they don't rely on a single avenue of success. There's a best outcome and a second best outcome. There is no worst outcome.
The courts.
You sound like my uncle.
Yeah. Jaren's has a sour look on his face as he hears courts and courtly intrigue. Great. So we need to look for particular suspicious people at court as well. I just thought I had to hand this letter over, maybe fight a duel.
Wait, what duel are you fighting?
Well, I was supposed to, if there was no competent fighter, I was supposed to substitute for the whole daughter being sullied thing that the Humble Creek Lord was yammering about.
You just volunteered yourself to fight a death match for someone that you didn't even know?
And Jaren just nods like it's another day. Yes, they said it would get me get the whole affair over quicker, and so I can get my knighthood.
God, I wish my squirehood was like yours.
Certainly honorable.
I will say this.
However...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
However, to get back more to my point, I sincerely hope that we are not dealing with the fallout of some courtier's machinations.
I hope so as well.
And Edward scrunches his hand into a fist. But I digress.
I must admit, I'm not one for courts and feasts and the intrigue and the like. I may need a description or a face to look out for if I'm to do any of that while wearing fancy clothing and drinking from nice cups.
We'll do what we can, lad. I'll say this about you. You are nothing like your older brother. Dallin would like to watch very specifically to see how he reacts to that.
Jaren raises an eyebrow and says, well, we have some similarities, but it makes sense. He is the eldest son and he has many responsibilities that are different from mine. I am to be the knight in the family, to be the martial brother. And he kind of nods to himself like this is the explanation that makes a lot of sense and is pretty much all that needs said.
How rehearsed does it sound?
Rather rehearsed, as if this is what's been hammered into his head his entire life.
Dallin will remember that. All right, we're good.
See you like in a Telltale game.
Exactly.
Okay, So at this point, you see Roderick is ready, and people start to fall in. He looks at everyone. My knights, my ladies, what happened yesterday was beyond tragedy, for we lost 3 of our knights. The rest of us are fortunate, so we should ride on. Ride on to the royal court, the Easter. We are waylaid, but I'm adamant that we must not delay at all, not even tonight, that we will ride faster if need be. I know that some of you are wounded. That is going to be trouble. Then perhaps you should escort our second retinue that makes for the nearest abbey, where the bodies will be prepared and returned to Sarum. We do not know who is behind this raid. We are made to believe it is Saxons. I question this. I ride for the purpose of marriage to these, but it has not passed me that I am down 3 of my sword arms. Though I have, in fact, gained 1 more. He returns to stand in front of Blackwind. Blackwind just nods. My lord, you know that I'm in service to Newton Manor, so my sword is yours. Roderick nods. And then his eyes turn to Jaren. And who is this boy? The other that rode and used a sword beyond his right.
How close is Dallin standing to Jared?
You shimmying away? Is that the plan?
I'm just wondering, like, if his gaze is in the general direction of Dallin as well. That might be misinterpreted a bit.
So Jaren, it takes him for a moment to speak. First, he's realizing that the Lord is actually talking to him. Also called him a boy and questioned his ability to, or should, his right to wield a sword. His fist kind of clenches for a moment, but he gets his composure back and nods. I am Jaren, my lord, of Newton Manor. A squire. He adds, almost like he just remembered that he should probably add that.
Yeah. He says, for now, kneel, Jaren.
Jaren's taken aback a little bit, almost confused by the command, but he does after a moment. He kind of looks to his side, perhaps to Goretrix or Edward, and then he kneels.
Give me a courtesy roll, Zach. Let's see. You can add +7 to this one when preparing for it, but also Jaren doesn't necessarily play the role of courteous knight, so let's see how this goes. Or does he? I forget.
Let me see. Courtesy. Oh, he's actually not too bad at it.
Yeah, it's more etiquette, where intrigue's more like being a manipulative courtier kind of.
Hey.
All right. Hey. Yeah. So, giving you this. So as you go through the ceremony, you're saying basically, "I so swear" in response to each of these, until he says, "Repeat after me." Then you just repeat after him, and the rest happens.
All right.
So, He says, Jaren, do you acknowledge me as your true and rightful liege?
I so swear.
Do you pledge fealty to me, swear your sword to me, to be forever at my service?
I so swear. And Jaren's like shaking slightly. Maybe just at his fingertips you can really see it. He kind of shoves them to his side. He's pictured this day for a very, very long time.
And it's worth noting, this is the short battlefield style ceremony, so this is not all the pomp. I don't know if Jaren would care. This is a fast track to knighting. Yeah.
No, actually, he, at this point, with all the obstacles that have jumped in the way recently, he would prefer this one.
He says, then repeat after me. I, Jaren, do solemnly swear and pledge my sword.
Do solemnly swear and pledge my sword.
To Count Roderick, Salisbury.
To Count Roderick of Salisbury.
My liege.
My liege.
To defend and obey him until he departs or his demences.
Hold on, what was that?
Yeah, hold on. I went too far with that. I'll say it to you. To defend and obey him.
To defend and obey him.
Until he depart his demences.
Until he depart his demences.
Or death shall take him.
Or death shall take him.
And to uphold the honor of knighthood.
And to uphold the honor of knighthood.
He then takes, he looks over to his right, and Amig produces the sword that you wielded. It's your household. Actually, Blackwind would have done this, not Amig. He produces a sword. It's your sword. You have sullied a little bit by using ahead of your station. He then takes the sword in hand and says, then I dub thee Sir Jaren of Newton Manor, and return this, your sword, to you, to be wielded in my name. Arise, Sir Knight.
And Sir Jaren, I can finally say that, stands slowly, his eyes wide, taking everything in, and he bows his head finally and says, thank you, my lord.
You've earned it. And with that, I think that is a good place to close.
Hey.
Yeah.
I cannot possibly fuck up your name now.
Yes.
Don't rule anything out.
Well, now it's going to be
possible.
Sir, and then we're going to go Jer, and then we're going to end with F. Like
Jareth.
accidentally.
Yeah, I think so. Or we'll add like Jarek, you know.
Jarek, yeah.
Jarek.
All right, thanks for watching. We're just going to go down the list here, then I'm going to explain one final piece about when we're back on likely. I've been Bob. I don't have really anything too new or fancy to talk about right now, but we have Zach back for at least one more direct episode. Next upcoming one, I'm super excited about that. That's all I got today. Thomas.
Beautiful. As far as I go, I've got nothing new either. I'm a digital ghost. If you find me, congratulations. Forget my face.
Mark.
Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. I was just checking out our handy-dandy Discord. By the way, did you know we have a Discord? Come check us out! We got all kinds of memes and shit posting and great shit. I have been Mark. I'm sure I'm somewhere on the internet, if you can find it. Yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed watching.
Thanks. And Liam.
Hi everybody, I played Sir Dallin / Elizabeth this evening. I had a wonderful time. If you want to hear me say funny things sometimes, I have a Twitter at Darth Coakley. I also occasionally stream on Twitch, and it's the same name. Same first verse, same as the second. Well, wait. yeah, I'm very much looking forward to. Are we back next week, or is that?
I'll get to that. I'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Okay, cool.
And Zach.
Oh, and I am Zach. I played Jaren, now Sir Jaren, and had a wonderful time. It's always a blast. Always a blast every single time playing with you guys, and I'm glad I can be here.
Great having you. And I have a wonderful announcement for the next session. We definitely need a couple of hours because we are doing our first 5-round feast. And there's totally not going to be a whole bunch of intrigue.
No.
That would be silly.
Just feast cards.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Gortrix and Edward carrying Dallin around on a stretcher while Dallin interrogates different people.
This one's looking at me funny. Is it because I'm carrying you, because I'm not wearing the fashion, or because he's suspicious?
It's just people walking up to Jaren, and Jaren blurting out, "No, Sir Dallin's not a woman. What are you talking about? Shut up."
Gortrix has done that.
And as far as when we're getting back together, I think we talked about it, and it's likely 2 weeks from now. We're going to do it quite a bit earlier than our normal session, so we're going to try for an 8 p.m. Pacific start time. Just to accommodate schedules and to allow for the 5-round feast. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing you all there, and thanks for watching. Have a good night.
Yeah. See you, everyone.
Yep.
Bye.